All right, what's going on, guys? Welcome to a video, I guess, that I'm going to put together. I don't know if I'm actually going to share this or not, but this is the IONSport NeuroTracker session. This is going to be session 1. I'm doing their study, essentially. It's a study by Texas A&M University. They are trying to understand how like nutrition and sleep and all that kind of stuff affects your cognition in gaming. And it's a good way to compare to other people, I guess. This is actually, this that's behind me here is actually software that's used by, they told me that it was used by like the military. It's used by like top level athletes and stuff like that. It's, it kind of looks like Kovacs. You can kind of see there behind me here. It kind of looks like Kovacs, but it is actually more like, it's kind of more like Aim Lab, the like memory and perception tests in like default stock Aim Lab. Because what it's going to do is it's going to light up these orbs right here, like it's showing, and then it's going to shuffle them around, and it's going to de-highlight them, and it's going to de-highlight them and then shuffle them around, and I have to find them again, basically, is what I understand. And yeah, so we're just going to get into it. This is session 1. You actually do this with a pair of 3D glasses, so I'm going to look goofy as hell doing it, but it should be a good time just to kind of see what's going on. So we're gonna check it out. I'm not going to talk the whole time. This is simply more or less just to kind of document the process. But I did want to go ahead and do a little introduction here. This initial one is probably going to take a little while, so I happen to have enough disk space. We should be good. But it's supposedly going to take like 45 minutes or so to do the whole thing. So it's going to be a pretty long little video. But yeah, let's get into it. This
1.0.
Yeah, show me this again. There was 3? I didn't even see.
1.0.
Yeah, okay, I followed him that time. It's a little tricky. So like just my first thought here, like in an actual game environment, in an FPS game, you wouldn't necessarily be doing this, but I'm sure actually maybe some high-level players maybe do. Typically what you would do, like if I'm looking at this like a tracking scenario in Kovacs, for example, or even a target switching scenario, the way I typically play this kind of stuff out, I think you can see my mouse here, I would latch on to a specific target, and then my gaze is going to be focused on that target until it's gone, until it's eliminated, and then I'll switch to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. What this is actually doing is I'm having to actively focus on 3 targets at any given time rather than track a single one, because you're not trying to eliminate them, you're just trying to keep track of their movement. So what I may actually have to do is focus more on screen center. There's a little dot in the middle of the screen, and I know I look goofy as hell with this on, but there's a little dot in the middle of the screen, and I think what would be good is to actually, and this kind of relates back to aim training in FPS games too, because you're going to look at the middle of the screen more like you are focusing screen center. So say you're looking at your red dot, say you're looking at your crosshair, something like that, and you're using your peripheral vision, and then obviously in an FPS situation, you would then switch to that target with your peripheral vision in mind, and you would switch, and then you would put the crosshair over that target, and that's how you would eliminate them. Kind of an alternate way of looking at it, rather than tracking targets, tracking screen center. I think tracking screen center is going to be what you're going to have to do in this, and then use your peripheral to keep track of the highlighted objects that were shown in the beginning. This is probably going to be pretty tricky, actually. I'm thinking this is going to be fairly difficult. So let's get started. All right, track 1 to 4 targets for 6 to 8 seconds. Here we go. I also wanted to measure. They advise that you sit, your eye level needs to be, they actually advise you have your eye level center screen, which is counterintuitive to some things I've seen that are related to ergonomics. Typically, ergonomics say you want your eye level, when sitting in the correct posture, to be about the top third of your screen. They advise actually to be in the middle. They also advise that you sit, your eyelids need to be back far enough from the screen that they are the diagonal of your monitor. This is a 24-inch monitor, essentially. So my eyes would need to be 24 back. So actually, I need to sit like way back here. Just a little bit further than I usually play. That's interesting. It does make the 3D look a little bit better if I sit back here. So let me pull the mic a little bit closer. And since we're not actually like doing an FPS scenario, this might be okay. I might even consider playing FPS games back here as well. It might not be a bad idea. If I like it in this, I might transfer it over. This is what's going to make this interesting. I'm gonna see like what I learned from this that I can then apply to, say, for example, Battlefield or Call of Duty or whatever it may be. That reminds me, I do need to ask permission. I got to see if I can even use this content on a channel and share it. If I can, this could be a really interesting thing to share. All right, so I think we're back far enough now. We'll be about ready to begin here. Just make sure, once again, I need to sit back really about here. So I'm going to put the mic. The mic is a good way to like make sure my posture stays the same. If I put this mic about where I would talk, that's like, okay, I need to be sitting right here in order to be the correct distance. So that ought to be good. Here we go.
0.7.
Nice. All right. Good on the first go.
1.1.
Oh my gosh, I missed that one. Actually, I have no clue which ones they were. Was it the same 4? We'll see. I don't know. Missed one.
0.7.
All right, it's the 4 to the left. Easy work. I really like the 3D environment they have set up. This is actually really neat. Oh, I lost them. I know it was these 2, but as far as the other ones, I think it's 2 of these 3, perhaps. I could be wrong. Let's try that. I don't think that's right. Enter any comments about the session. This is completely optional, she said. But I am going to go ahead and put some on here. Focus, poor sleep, stressed, etc. I'm actually going to put probably something that people typically don't put on this, but too focused on a single target. As there are no practice effects involved in NeuroTracker training, improved scores are directly related to improvements in your mental capabilities. All right. Well, we have to go on and... I'm trying to remember what she said now. I think it was... You have to get this bar to 100%, I think is what she told me. So I think we do this now. I think that's right. Let's see. Put our glasses back on. Yeah, see, this is what I was talking about right here, this tip of the day. The most efficient and effective training technique for NeuroTracker is to keep your eyes still, gazing at the center. This helps you spread your attention instead of relying on eye movements to track the targets. That's what I was talking about before I ever even started. You kind of want to focus screen center, use the peripheral to track.
0.7. 1.4.
And the last one, I have no clue, dude. Yeah, I didn't know the last one.
1.3.
I can routinely keep track of 3 of them. I can't keep track of the 4th, though. I always lose the 4th. Yeah, that's tricky, man. Real tricky. I can, seems like I can really keep track of 3 of them, but the 4th one seems to pretty quickly evade me.
0.9.
felt that as soon as I clicked it. I was like, oh, damn it. It was the 2. I could have changed it like I said, but I wasn't for sure. All right. I think that's it. That's day 1 there. So, yeah, highest trial speed 1.4, best score 1.06, last session score 0.81, so not super great. Yeah, I kind of had a little dip in performance there. Yeah, definitely kind of interesting, I would say. It is definitely way different than other aim training in Kovacs or aim labs, for example, because so much of that is focused on obviously target elimination and then moving to the next target, whereas this is like simultaneously tracking 4 targets at once, as if you like needed to have a gun that had 4 barrels that could like independently track targets and shoot at them at the same time. Be kind of like having like 4 mice that were all trying to point in one direction. I don't know. It's definitely interesting. I'm not going to say it wouldn't have any kind of direct relation to FPS games. That's my initial thought, is like, how am I ever going to use this? But I mean, when you're playing an FPS game, for example, there's going to be times when you need to keep track of targets, and I'm sure higher level players will be able to do things like this a lot easier, and actively focus on 4 different targets at once can be really important, because you need to be able to do that in an FPS game. Say, for example, in Battlefield, like I play all the time, it would actually be really important to do something like this, because let's say you have 4 targets in front of you, and one of them is looking at you, for example, so that's a high priority target. You need to go to that one first. And the other 3, maybe then one's a medic. You want to take out the medic next so that they can't revive the guy you just took out, and the other 2, maybe they're not looking at you or whatever. I think probably the most direct relation of an exercise like this is probably going to be to something like target priority when you come across a kind of a mass of enemies. Maybe you want to take out the one that has the least amount of health that you can see first, to then make that 1v4 or 1v3, which is obviously your odds are a lot better every single enemy you can take out of that group. So that's probably, that's going to be my first thoughts on my, initially how you could apply something like this, these exercises, to an FPS game. Otherwise, it is pretty well just tracking kind of your cognition, your ability to not memorize, but like follow multiple targets simultaneously. It's an interesting thing. We'll see how it goes. I got to do this for the next week, so there's going to be several sessions incoming. But yeah, that's it. That'll be it for session 1. Definitely interesting. I kind of look forward to seeing if I can actually improve these scores. I do feel like it got a little bit better towards the middle there, once I kind of got a feel for what was going on, and I felt like the 1.1, 1.2 range, that started being a little easier once I kind of got a feel for ones even higher than that. Once they throw you those 1.7s, you're like, wow, this is really fast. Then they slow it back down to like a 1.1, a 1.0, and it's like, okay, this is a little bit easier. So there are benefits, of course, and I know this through aim training and stuff. There's benefits to going faster, doing faster scenarios, and then coming back to slower ones. In Kovacs, for example, it's always a good idea on a scenario you might be hard stuck on to slow that scenario down to get a better feel. And it's kind of the same thing at play here. When they slow it down like that, you're getting a feel for the way the environment is, the way the targets are bouncing, kind of the bot movement, so to speak. And then when they speed it back up, you can kind of apply that knowledge, and you can keep track of them a little easier. So yeah, anyway, I guess that's it. That was day 1. So we'll put that in the books, and we'll be back for day 2. Appreciate you guys. As a bit of an afterword, if you guys are interested in doing this study yourself, I'll leave information down in the description below on how you can get in contact with IONSport so you can sign up to do it yourself. It's a pretty neat little study. You get some goodies out of it, and you can help them further their research on this particular subject. So check that out if you guys are interested, and yeah, I'll see you next time.